So today I want to talk about the Apple brand by Steve Jobs. Apple began to struggle after the born outside Steve Jobs from the company in 1985. When Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, it was close to bankrupt. Then Jobs led a spectacular recovery, introducing the iPod in 2001, the iPhone in 2007, and the iPad in 2010. The result is Apple earning almost 40 million in profit in its 2014 fiscal years. Apple products include the iPod, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, HomePod software and the electronic vehicles. All of these Apple products in a high demand from around the world. This is due to the quality that each product produced by the Apple. But the price of each Apple product is higher than the other products. Apple products have also made Malaysia the highest income earning for Apple products. This is the evidence by the article published by Berita Harian Online. Malaysia is one of the fastest growing markets with the highest review record for the tech giant Apples. Thus, the Malaysian economy will also grow due the availability of the Apple product in Malaysia.
The background of an entrepreneur is very important in any business during and after running a business. The success entrepreneur is known as Steve Jobs, and he was an American investor, designer, and entrepreneur who was the co-founder, chief executive, and chairman of Apple Computer. This entrepreneur was born on February 24, 1955 in San Francisco, California. Steve Jobs was born to John Skibber and Abdul Fattah John Dali. He lived in Mountain View, California, within the area later known as Silicon Valley. For his ethnicity, he was half Arabian. He started his business through his father's approach. As a boy, Steve Jobs and his father were as an electronic in family. His father always showed to his son to take apart and reconstruct electronic. His hobby that instilled confidence, necessity, and mechanical process in young Jobs. Then Steve instilled interest in the creation of goods began. His approach has changed the whole life. Steve and his family has given him an innovation to create a product. In addition, Steve Jobs has started his business because of the support and assistance of his colleague Steve Wozniak. The contrast of the belief of many, Steve Jobs did not found Apple alone. In like fashion, Steve started market his product in 1976. Besides Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak are credited revolutionizing the computer industry with Apple and making machines smaller, cheaper, intuitive, and accessible to everyday consumers. However, the factor which led Steve Jobs to his formation to his business was due to the difficulties that he often encountered to navigate the path of his life in pursuit his dream of becoming a well-known entrepreneur. In some ways, Steve Jobs started the right place and in the time to take the best advantage in digital revolution.
I would like to share to you guys about company background of Steve Jobs. As we know that Steve Jobs was set up company that named Apple because Steve Jobs had realized something, a huge gap in computer market, because that time all computer were mainframe. As we know that time one computer same large as one room, so it was a huge company. It was a huge computer. So that Steve Jobs and his company redesigned company idea to sell to individual users. The first market of company were attempt at 1977. Then the first year's sale of the computer Apple was $2.7 million. Then the company grew up until $200 for 3 years. Then Steve Jobs has 4 types of business that Steve Jobs running. First was the Macintosh. Second was the NES. Third was the Toy Story. And fourth was the Apple. So, who are the target market of Steve Jobs? As the data recording, 54% of the customer that buy an iPhone had iPhone before then they purchased the iPhone. So it was the regular customer that had shown. Next, 2 out of 5 owner is younger than 34. So it clearly show that the users of the iPhone was the younger people, then other younger people, then the older people. Then the best customer of Apple is someone who has more money.
Next, we go to Steve Jobs before starting the venture. Steve Jobs starting the venture at 1975 when he is 20 years old. Steve Jobs collaborate with Steve Wozniak and set up a shop in Jobs' parent garage and started working on Apple brand. Next, we go to Steve Jobs before starting the venture. Steve Jobs starting the venture at 1975 when he is 20 years old. Steve Jobs collaborate with Steve Wozniak and set up a shop in Jobs' parent garage and started working on Apple brand. The idea from Steve Jobs came up in 1971 when Jobs was still in high school in California when Wozniak read an article about hackers who had blue box in Esquire magazine. When Steve Jobs at high school at California, he does not have role model, but he made himself as a role model to build up a new brand of Apple. Even though there are many obstacles that Steve Jobs do, he built up and look forward to make her dreams come true. And then Steve Jobs becomes a young entrepreneur and successful entrepreneur in the world. This is because the brand Apple work out and people like to use brand Apple.
I will present about entrepreneur at the time start of the venture. Anyone unfamiliar with high quality and branded technology and gadgets is Apple. Despite the design and development of this technology or gadget, there are many problems or challenges faced by the designer of the branded product. Design by design create to compete with other brand that have invented the name. The identified designer or owner of Apple company, Steve Paul or Steve Jobs. He is the founder, chairman or former CEO of Apple. Jobs also serves as chief executive of Pixel Animation Studio and also joined the board of directors of the Walt Disney Company in 2006. After Pixel was purchased by Disney, he is widely as the executive producer of the movie Toy Story 95. In the 1970s, Apple company developed and market of the most successful personal computer lines of the market is the Apple II series. After losing power to the board in 1984, Steve Jobs designed for Apple and founded Next, a computer platform development company specializing in the highest education and business market. In 1996, Apple bought next. The Steve Jobs returned to his old company and served as a chief executive officer from 1997 to 2012. After his report, Steve Jobs died after struggling with prostate cancer for a long time. One day, the day of death, Apple website Apple has lost a genius and the world has lost a remarkable man. We are fortunate to work with him, a very inspirational mentor.
In conclusion, Apple's success because Steve Jobs, how he tried hard to build his business empire. The success of a person is the result of self-made effort to achieve the goal. From what happened in his life, we can learn what we want in the future. He teaches us to be great. 10 principles in Steve Jobs' life we can take as motivation in our life. Example is innovative, innovation for more creative, and don't be afraid to be failed. There are several factors that make Apple successful business. Number one is any product made by Apple, the person who made it must want it. Number two is easy to use. And lastly is Apple will only make the product if Apple does well. The successful of Steve Jobs in developing the business should be listened to the public. Every fail has sweetness of success. That's all from us. Thank you.